All right, so it's recording. So welcome to another bi-weekly edition of Bates Parents Meeting Updates. We're not going to have much for you because we haven't got much information, but we will answer any questions you have and any concerns, obviously. You know, we have our team here. I'm going to go ahead and say, I don't know where they're at on your screen, but we have Marlene Cuevas. She's our student engagement, family engagement coordinator. Jen Ducetti is our team chair. Allison Vargas is our nurse. Gavin Softick is not only the assistant principal, but he's also going to be the next year's principal for Bates Elementary. And then Karen Reardon is somewhere around here. There she is. She's there as well. She's here as well. She's listening. And then we have Mr. Salem himself, the one, the only, Matt Collins. The Collins principal is here as well. He's going to be talking about the transition to fifth grade going to Collins, because I'm pretty sure you're going to have a lot of questions for him anyways. But put your questions in the chat box. We can review them and look at them as we're going through those. And one of us will let Matt know as we're hearing questions. We can do that, and then maybe if we have time, he'll take questions if we turn off the microphones and do that as well. All right, so we're going to start off with Matt first because, we don't want to take up all of his time. He's a busy man, so without further ado, let him have it, Matt.
Thanks, JJ. And JJ always gives me a hard time, but because I always talk about Salem. I do have I grew up in Salem, and I love Salem, graduated from Salem High, and I've been at Collins for 12 years, and I've seen the changes that have happened there, especially over the last 6 years since we've gone to extended day, and there's been some refocusing. I've taught everything from special ed to ELA to been the assistant principal like Gavin, and moved up to be the principal the last couple of years. So I personally love both Salem and Collins Middle School. I just kind of I know I had wrote a letter, and I know Gavin and JJ got that out to you guys along with the PowerPoint. And that PowerPoint we use for our tours that we give both in the November open house, and then we usually have one later in the spring, obviously been canceled. What I'll say is we have been thinking about our future CMS Sharks. The fifth grade students from all schools ask questions. My team right now are looking through those questions and getting some common themes. What we're doing is we have our eighth graders and a team of teachers, and they're developing a video to give a virtual tour both of the school and answer those common questions that kids have. So that will be coming to you. We need a little time for production, probably in a week or two. We'll be sending that to both all the principals, and they'll be sending it to both you as the parent and caregiver, and we'll get that to the fifth grade teachers that they can give that in their classrooms, and then we'll post it through social media. The other thing that I really, really wanted to just offer is that to be able to come to see the kids. So I went to see Bates on Thursday, popped in the classroom, answered some questions. I also wanted to come to parent events like this to answer any questions. But the other real thing that I wanted to offer for all parents that are coming to Collins is a personal time with me and you, because everybody's scholar, that's what we call them at Collins, is different, and everybody has personalized questions about their transition, and I wanted to be able to make the time. And if I have to sit with all 200 parents that are incoming, that's what I'll do to make sure that this transition is easy, especially in these uncertain times of school and then transitioning to another school. I wish I had answers, much like Mr. Munoz said about next year. I can't sit there and say what's going to happen. I know our usual traditions, besides what we're doing now, is for our incoming sixth graders, we have them all come for a family dinner, and it's usually put on by our cooking club because we have electives, and our seventh and eighth graders, along with teachers, cook for our incoming families coming. That's obviously a big group. We fill up our cafeteria. The other function of that is that's when you'll get your child's schedule, meet their homeroom teacher, meet their new classmates, because they're integrating with kids from all the other elementary schools. Normally, I would be able to give you that date now. It's usually one of the last Thursdays in August, but I don't know if we can have that event. So we'll have to brainstorm something else if that doesn't happen. But my main purpose of coming and just my face is just to let you know that I'm here. I know the transition is scary. I know that going to a different school, you've been in a school for 6 years and now you're coming to this big school. But I want you to know that just as much access as you have with the team at a small school, you can reach out to me at any time. So I want to thank the Bates team for giving me some time, and you for letting me have some of your time as you're thinking about your kids' end of fifth grade year. And I don't know if any questions came up, I can answer them, Mr. Munoz, or if anybody has any questions, I can take them. Or if not, you can email me personally because it might be something about your child.
So we didn't have any questions come up, but you can unmute yourself. Any parents that want to ask a question about Collins, because I think it'd be good that everyone hears it on video. So if you have a question, please ask away. Just unmute yourself and ask.
Principal Condon, my name is Blake Collymore.
Hi, Blake.
Meet you online. Could you just give us a quick view of the process for getting a meeting with you? Is there going to be some type of online sign up? How's that going to materialize?
You know what? In the chat, I'll put the easiest way, just because my schedule is flexible, and sometimes it has to move around. So instead of stating, I'll just leave you my email, and we'll set something up in my schedule, and then we can meet. And I've been saying it. I've been meeting already with some other parents. If you want emails written, if you want a Zoom like this, if you want just an old-fashioned phone call, it's all good for me. Whatever you feel comfortable with, I'll accommodate that for you.
Thank you.
No problem.
So Matt, just a side note, because Matt and I share the same philosophy as some of the things that we do at Bates. Matt wants to, implement at Collins. So the Amazing Shake, Matt and I have always been talking about for 2 years now. Blake's son, Will, did the RCA virtual national competition last week and was the top 100 out of 5th through 8th grade out of 27 states and 3 countries.
That is awesome. Yeah. The Amazing Shake is great. We were going to use that a couple years ago before we had an influx of students, and we kind of got put on hold. The one thing that is going to be familiar for your students is my leadership team, teachers, counselors, and principal and assistant principals are working on a house system, and we were going to see a version of that at a big middle school in Virginia. Much like Ron Clark, I have a gentleman that I follow. He has videos, Hamish Brewer, and but it got canceled because of COVID. I was supposed to go down in March, but I'm in contact in our teams. We have a little different spin on it, but we are going to have a house system also.
But the same philosophy with students collaborating across grade levels with staff. Matt and I have been talking about this for years, and he was going to send his team to come see at Bates what a town hall looks like as well. So,
and I would say that that's going to be the one difference for the 6th graders. I know a lot of times they spend 90% of the day with their homeroom, and they travel, so they won't get lost. Going from class to class, they'll have 9 classes throughout the week. They're always on the same floor. Electives now are just in the 6th grade. It used to be spread all throughout the building. But I would say the area where they will be meeting some older kids is in the house system. And we did that so they would have more mentorship, leadership, have role models to be able to lead them through their 6th grade year. So we're excited about that.
Who else has a question? Any questions?
Carlton was quiet too. So
our parents normally have questions. Matt's email is in the chat box. So if you guys want to email him, mcondon@salemk12.org. So that will, you can always email him personal questions if you don't want to ask in front of the whole group. That's totally fine too. Going once, going twice. I got it. Wait, did I hear somebody?
It sounded like I heard someone.
I mean, I see a handful of 5th grade parents here, so I didn't know if, they wanted to speak up, but I think we're good.
All right. Well, thank you again for your time. Thank you, Mr. Munoz. Thank you, Gavin. Good luck with the end of the year, and I hope to hear from you soon.
All right. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, guys.
All right, guys. So that was Matt. So like I said, you can email him, mcondon@salemk12.org. If you have any questions about middle school, he'll be more than happy to help you. If you forget his email, you can shoot one of us, any of us on the team here. We can get you that email as well. So don't worry about it. If you forget it, we can get it to you as well. Quick updates. So we don't have a timetable yet of when students are going to be able to come pick up their stuff at school. The district has yet to give guidance on that. I think they're still waiting for DESE guidance just for what's going on for next year. They're still putting a plan together. We have 3 or 4. We have 4 more, I think, 4 more weeks of school left, and so I think that it'll probably happen within the last 2 weeks of school is when we're going to create some type of system. I can imagine. I don't know, but I can imagine it'll be something like, whatever your last name falls in the alphabet, then you'll come at a certain time, pick up your stuff. You probably won't be able to go into the building. The teachers will probably bag up your stuff for you. Nothing has been set in stone, but that's just my idea of what will probably happen when the district formulates a plan. So know that some of you parents may be thinking about when can I get my child's things. That's what will be communicated as soon as we get that information. Mr. Softy, do you have an update on the AP search?
So AP search. So as we spoke, I think last time, we did make an offer soon thereafter. However, that candidate is a finalist for a principal position in Wakefield. So we have a hard deadline on Friday for that candidate to either accept or move on. And in that time, we are screening additional candidates. We met with 4 candidates this afternoon. In the case that he does decide to move on to Wakefield principal. So we are prepared to move forward just in case. And we have full transparency with all the candidates, so everyone's comfortable with the process. So, I don't want to keep putting off the timeline, but it is a little bit longer than anticipated. But if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I can definitely update you on that.
Yeah, thank you, Gavin. And if we're going down for 5th grade, we know 5th grade's a big year. They move on to Collins, and they normally have a ceremony. They have some special trips they take. So we are in the process of planning a virtual Zoom night for the kids to have like a celebration where all the families and kids can come in, and that invitation will be sent out probably in the next week here. It's going to happen in about 3 weeks from now that we'll do that. And then we'll have like a virtual yearbook that I'm going to make a slideshow / video. And then we'll show that to all of you guys. I'll share my video screen with you guys so we can all watch it together about the 5th grade and all the information that we get, or all the pictures and videos we get with them. And then we're also planning on doing some type of caravan towards the end of June, more towards like almost before school is out, to give them hopefully their yearbooks and T-shirts and a sign for your guys' yard to say, you're 5th grade and you're at Bates, woohoo, and all that other stuff. And we'll cheer them on from our cars, obviously. So that if 5th grade parents, if you're wondering about what we're doing, that's what we're kind of cooking up right now. If you have any more questions or details, you can either put them in the chat box or you can give me a call.
So one of the questions, JJ, was amount of people allowed in like the Zoom meeting for that. Is it limited?
So the school account that we have right now can have 100 computers. So 100 computers. It doesn't mean 100 people, because if you have a family of 4, then that's only on 1 computer. It's fine. 100 computers we can have. So there's 66 5th graders. If every 5th grader comes on with their family, and we know that some people have multiple family members, grandparents. Maybe they have their families are separated. They want to have mom's side and dad's side come on and this and that. So we'll think about that. I'll reach out to the district as well, because they have the technology to go beyond 100. And so if we can get we want to prepare adequately for that as well. I mean, if there's a great turnout, that's great. That'll be wonderful for us to do. So that's a great
worst case scenario, we could record it and share it with grandparents. Send it to you guys, and you could share it with grandparents.
Yeah, we will communicate with the parents, the 5th grade parents that are on this call. We will communicate with you saying, hey, we're only going to have 100 participants allowed, so please, mom and dads only. Obviously, if parents live in different households, then we want them to come on, and we want to try to best coordinate that as we can. So we'll be in contact probably here in a week or so.
Mr. Munoz?
Yep.
Hi, it's Joanne Coughlin. I just wanted to let you know, as far as the yearbooks go, that the latest they should arrive is June 11th.
Oh, look at that. You gave me 8 extra days. 8 extra days.
I got them done and ready to go yesterday, so
Wheeling and
we're
dealing.
good to go.
So yeah, Joanne Coughlin is she's working on the yearbook for 5th grade. It's only a 5th grade yearbook, guys, so it's not kindergarten through 4th grade. It's only a 5th grade yearbook. They get this yearbook every single year. Parents in the 5th grade, every year that goes to 5th grade, fundraise and do this thing for the kids. And I know I sent her a ton of stuff over the weekend. She's like, do you have this stuff? And I probably sent like 400 pictures. And so for her to be done, that's pretty amazing. So shout out to you. So what else we got? I have school back for students of September. We don't know yet. So we are waiting. I imagine, though, my personal opinion is it's going to be hard. Like it's going to be a hybrid schedule if that happens, because if they're gonna want social distancing, and we don't know, but this is what COVID recommends, right? The Center for CDC. They say you want social distancing, they want all these things in place. Well, the district's going to wait for DESI. I think DESI's waiting for the governor, and I don't think the governor wants to give a plan that's blanketed for the whole state. So, so there's a political game probably going to happen with that. But I think once we do get guidance, hopefully we'll have guidance before this school year ends, before June 24th, so we can send it out to families, and teachers can have it too, so they can prepare. But if you're talking, we don't have neighborhood schools here, so that's something that there's a lot of things to think about in Salem. There's no neighborhood schools. We have at least 5 or 6 buses, Mr. Soptic?
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
and those are
including special ed.
Yeah, and those are basically all the buses, because once our buses do Bates, then they go and do Horace Manor. They go to another district. Like we don't have like multiple buses and buses and buses. So how are you going to social distance on a bus when the buses are full? You know, so that's a challenge in itself, right? What if some teachers can't come back to work because they're immune compromised because of the family members they stay with? So then how are we going to pay for that teacher to be out on leave and then pay for that teacher, pay for another teacher coming into the building? You know, I think that maybe some parents may not want to send their kids. So I think that the district's going to have to think about all these different things before we get back in September. So I'm anticipating it'll be a hybrid model, but don't say that. I'm not saying that that's what it is, but it just, there's so many things to get in place. I'm not sure if it's going to, we'll find out. That's all I can say is we'll find out.
Principal Softic, could you elaborate on how the school district plans on communicating that model to us going forward, and how Bates specifically will be communicating that model to us?
Yeah, I think it will be very similar to, so far we're doing. Obviously, we want to continue to do the bi-weekly meetings via Zoom, but also we'll do the robocalls, text messages. Things will be posted on the Salem Public Schools website. So we may be directing, families to that site with that information as it becomes live. I think we're brainstorming as many possible ways to communicate as much as possible. I know we've learned a lot about the communication process over the last 3 months and how to improve it and how to make sure it's equitable across, all families with all the students. So, it's gonna be multi-models of communication. But as we get information, we'll try to get it to families as soon as possible. That's for sure. We've tried to be as transparent as possible without giving out information before it's too early throughout this process. But if you have any individual questions about things, you can always reach out to us as well.
So one of the things Mr. Soptic and I are doing before my departure is we're anticipating that this, like worst case scenario, that this model might happen, and it might be something online or hybrid or something like that. So we want to try to solidify our communication procedures and policies. So we've been having obviously biweekly Zoom parent meetings. Most of you should have gotten a text an hour ago about the parent meeting that was going to happen. We're sending out obviously newsletters on the email on Friday. So we've learned how to use the Blackboard system to our advantage. Obviously we have Facebook, and we're trying to use our website as a central hub because it's friendly on your phone and it's friendly obviously on the computer. And so we'll continue to push out through that platform. If you don't see it on our website, or if you haven't got an email on Friday from us, then it's probably just a rumor right now until you get that, right? So that, and unless Mr. Soptic changes that policy, we're trying to solidify something that's good, that we can reach all families.
Just to follow up, could you clarify for me then? Does it go from the school board to the superintendent's office to you, to us?
Yeah, pretty much. So obviously we have meetings with the principals, meetings with central office, where plans are being developed, the superintendent working with DESI. So it is kind of a trickle down effect. Once they know the proceedings, we try to plan accordingly how we're going to put that out, and what the format will look like, what the platform will look like, whether it's digital, what the scheduling will be. And then as soon as we solidify that, we get that information out to families. And we don't want to do that too early unless it's really set in stone. Because we don't want to get people, anxious about something that may or may not happen. So the district really kind of plans, and then as it's planned and ready to go, then it's released to, families.
All right, does anyone have more questions? Yeah. So the last day of virtual learning, I see a question from Ms. Coates. The last day, as of right now, virtual learning is June 24th is the last day of school. So will teachers probably be doing lessons that day? No, probably not. They'll probably have some kind of fun activities to do with your kids that last week of school. There has been a document submitted to school committee or submitted to the state to ask if kids can get out a couple days earlier, but that hasn't been solidified yet. That's still in process. If that happens, I'm pretty sure Superintendent Smith will robocall and robo-email everybody that this is going to take place. Before you even hear it from us, you'll probably hear it from her. So because she's the one that's going to have that information for us, but we will know hopefully in a week here if that's going to happen. Did the school committee submit to the state? Yes, they did. So that's what I'm saying. The superintendent went to the school committee. They all agreed. They submitted to have maybe the kids finish a couple days earlier than June 24th, but we are on hold waiting for that to get approved. So, yes. All right, anyone else have any other questions? Mrs. Doucetley, do you have anything on the special ed department you need to update anybody with?
Just to let everybody know, if you have a student that is participating in the extended year program and receives services, we are right now planning on being 100% online. Of course, DESE hasn't given us a definite answer, but we're anticipating that will be completely online. For those families that are accessing reading services during the school year, the programs Lexia and Raz Kids will still be available to you over the summer if you want to continue working on those reading skills, and you can always just shoot me an email and I can let you know what their progress is at any time.
And we keep referencing DESE, and that's the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. So that's a state board. So that's, if we keep referencing DESE, that's what it's pertaining to.
Yeah, good point.
Another acronym in education.
Yeah, instead of saying that whole long thing. Marlene, do you have anything that you need to update anybody on?
No, I don't.
Okay, Allison, do you?
Any nursing questions, feel free to email me. I know it's hard, but keep trying to social distance, wash your hands, and wear a mask when recommended.
Okay, Mrs. Reardon, she's here. Do you have anything? She's on mute. Let me see if I can unmute her. Ms. Reardon, you're good. You're good to go. Do you have anything?
I do. Just to update us with information if it changes. Please let us know if you're not coming back to Bates next year. You can do that by emailing me.
Yep, you can email her. If you email me, I just forward it on to her so she can put it in the system as well. So if you're gonna go to another district, if you're moving out of Salem, please let us know. Or if you have any changes in your address or phone, you can let us know. We can do that as well. When school ends on the 24th, children, I believe you can talk. Now this is going to be teacher dependent. We'll be able to keep someone's asking, will they be able to complete more work if they're missing assignments online? So just to know that we are not getting, you guys will not be getting report cards for the third trimester. There's not going to be any report cards. We are not having teachers record grades. They're obviously wanting your student to learn, and their teachers are keeping their own notes on what your student knows and what they don't know. But there is no report card and there's no grades. Our first number one concern and our biggest concern is making sure that families are safe, mentally healthy, obviously physically healthy, and that's what we want to do, at least for this year. I think DESE is using this year, DESE, the Department of Education and Secondary, the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education is using this time to pilot to see what kind of accountability system they could put in place for next year if we have to go online. So they're not requiring us to overhold that accountability. Everyone is moving into the next grade. So if you're a second grader, you are going into third grade. If you were going to be retained, we would have notified you already as a parent, and you would have that information. And that would have been based on evidence pre-COVID-19, so before March. So so know that that's going to happen. But talk to your teacher and say, hey, because their classes don't turn off, their Google Classroom will still be there, but or their Schoology will be still there, or the Seesaw will still be there. Say, hey, it's the 24th. Can my students still submit online assignments? And I'm pretty sure they're going to be okay with that. Mrs. Doucetley has one more thing.
For students with an IEP, you will receive a progress report. It will state that we were in closure, and it won't be able to give definite progress, but it will let you know what your child worked on during the closure and what we had seen. So just to know that will be coming to you in email by the end of the school year.
So we still have our morning Bates News morning show at 8 o'clock every morning. If we get about 25 people that tune in live, and then we get people that watch it afterwards. So know that if you missed the show and you want to watch it, you can just go on our website, click on our archive videos, and it'll open up. We do have Beacons of the Week now. They happen on Mondays, happened today on Tuesday because there was no school yesterday. So after the Friday, your student, if they're selected, will get an email, and I have some parents who already had Beacons, get that email, and with that email, then they come on the next Monday morning, and then we bring them on morning news. When we close the year in 4 weeks, we'll have an end of the year school video that I normally show to the whole staff and students, but this time you'll get to see it as well because we're not in our closed circuit room, so everyone will see that. It's basically a recap of the year. I'll call it my greatest hits since I'm leaving, so this will be my greatest hits. So we'll go that way, and it'll be a lot of fun. Normally we have a staff video, but I'm not sure if we'll be able to put one of those together, but we do have a staff video that we're going to be showing shortly here, but not today, but in about a week or so. But we do have a lot of fun with that, so kids can see their teachers, acting goofy and really taking chances, because we always push our students to say, take risks. Obviously, you want to be feeling safe to take risks, but you can make mistakes, you can do all that, but you need to try new things. And so I always encourage the staff to do the same thing, and they always respond. So, if our kids are not doing art, music, PE, will that impact anything? It will not impact anything, although the special teachers do always want to check in to see if the kids are doing their stuff. I think that you can always, they work really hard at creating their lessons. So it won't impact anything from like an academic standpoint or a grade standpoint. But I know our special teachers, they work really hard on making these lessons. And so if you do them and you submit them to them and you just kind of want to be not everyone to see them, just let the teacher know that. So if I'm doing something for Mrs. Berman, and I'm like, yeah, but I don't want it to go on announcements, then Miss Berman will just say, yeah, I just want to know that you're doing that. But it's not going to impact anything if that doesn't happen, because we know that your schedules are full. You may not be able to get to the all the Zoom classes. You may not be able to get to the specialist classes. You may not be able to get to, the packets if you're doing the packets online. Do what you can. But, if you feel like you need that small group instruction, our teachers have small groups where they see 4 or 5 or 6 kids at a time. That is when you can really get that tailored instruction or support need be for your child, whether it's a social standpoint or it's an academic standpoint. So we know that your schedules are going to be like this the whole time.
And then over the summer, if there's a rainy day and you didn't do a couple of those specialist lessons, that's something you can log into, like they're going to be open. So, it's a good opportunity to use them too. They're not going to go anywhere. They're going to stay on that Google or that digital learning platform we have on our Bates site.
So I did get a question for packets from Mr. Roses. So I will get that information for you tomorrow. I have a meeting tomorrow, and I will check. And then on Friday's newsletter, when we send out the newsletter, we will put that information in there to let you know if that packet's going to happen. The coaches from the whole district create the packets and send them out. And I know there were 2 or 3 week packets, but I'm not sure where we're at in that timeline. So I got to anticipate there might be one more. So the next question is there such thing as a list of what our kids should know and how to prepare for next year? I want to make sure that my child is on target for the next grade level. So the whole district, I think the whole country knows that there's going to be gaps in everyone's learning. Even if your child is doing everything online right now, there are certain things that they're not going to be taught because the curriculum is modified because of this pandemic. So we know going into next year, whatever the modified curriculum is, it could be like if you're going from 5th to 6th grade, they could be starting 6th grade curriculum, but they know that there's gaps that were not taught in 5th grade that those teachers are going to fill in and make up those gaps. So I would not be worried in that sense, because we're all anticipating that. Mr. Softic and I had numerous conversations about this and how we know that there's going to be a gap for all kids. Doesn't matter what level of learning you are, if you're a high learner, if you struggle, or if you're just an average learner. You're going to have a gap regardless. And so the teachers are going to do what they always do, reteach, but it's going to be a different methodical way of reteaching some certain standards. You're not going to go and teach, like you're not going to see a 6th grade teacher teaching the whole 5th grade curriculum for the first month. It's not going to happen. They're probably going to teach 6th grade curriculum with 5th grade standards that tie into that learning skill and embed those teaching practices as a 5th grader. So I wouldn't worry about your child falling behind and everyone else is just moving forward.
Yeah, and good instruction always has levels of differentiation. So obviously it's always tailored towards the highest students, and then we put in those supports and structures. So if students do need a little bit extra support on a standard or a skill, that's already embedded into the lesson, and scaffolded upon as they continue. So Salem does a really good job about meeting those, learners, and then especially those who might fall behind or a little bit of an achievement gap, as we say. We'll definitely address that moving forward.
Yes. Any other questions you guys have? All right, silence is golden, I guess, in this place, right? So we want to thank you, obviously, for coming on. We know that you guys have busy schedules. You have family. A lot of you are on mute, so I don't know if your kids are running around driving you nuts right now. But we appreciate you coming on and taking the time. You could always email Mr. Soptic or myself or anyone here on this board. It's always our first initial, last name at salemk12.org. Or you can just go to the website, click on the email on the top right button, and it comes right to me, and I can put it to whoever it needs to go to if it's not addressed to me. So, Mr. Soptic, do you have any other words?
I don't have anything new, no. But we'll meet again in 2 weeks.
All right. So, we're going to have a house champion in 3 or 4 weeks. Right now, Amistad is in the lead, even after all the points went in this morning. Gavin is still behind, but, I'm holding out hope for Altruismo. We got a couple more beacon weeks.
Yeah,
Recount to come in, so, I want to go out on top. All right. Have a wonderful, wonderful night, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Stay well, everybody. Thank you.
Right.